All this time you have been on my mind, and all the reasons why we're still in love. Days go by, flowers they bloom and die, although why you and I, we're still in love. Every night I lie in your arms so tight. You make my dreams come alive. You make my whole world alright. You're to the very end, we're still in love. When you smile, you make my life worthwhile, and I believe that's why we're still in love.
Well, hello. All right, first thing we got to do, Fair Use Act. Okay, everything in this video is based on thoughts and opinions. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Please be kind to anybody else in chat. Be kind to the host. It says right there on the wall above the E in Get Lockered, be kind. So, yeah, I rearranged my office after I took the Christmas tree down. And I got my, got my desk over here pretty much cleaned off. And I'm working on, can you see that piece of glass right there? I'll go get it. I'll show you. I've been all day, aside from researching for this video. This is called a flower frog. It's got holes right there that you put your flowers through, and you put your water in here. And I have searched through 10 different glass books, and I've searched online everywhere I can look that I know to look, and I cannot find any information about this flower frog. And I don't know what to sell it for if I don't know who makes it. Sorry, I'm so short that my feet don't reach the floor in my chair, so it's hard for me to scoot forward. Okay, so now, so everything is allegedly, in my opinion. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. So the title of today's video or stream is hashtag Sebastian Rogers. 20 questions. We need answers. Who has the answers? That's up to you to decide. I think law enforcement has some of them. I think Chris and Katie Proudfoot have the majority of them. But let's get into them and see what questions are going through my mind as we see. I tried to raise that get lockered to where it's over my head instead of behind my head. I guess it'd have to touch the ceiling. Okay, so anyway. All right, so for the first one, okay. Let me turn on my music here because I don't want to get doxxed or accredited, or what is it called? Striked. I don't want to get striked. So let me turn on my music. Okay, that's barely playing. Your browser has blocked the screen. Yeah, I turned it off. That's fine. All right, so let's go back up here. And then, okay. So I'm going to share a video from Vegas for Justice. Right here. Yeah. All right. So see if I can play. I want it to play. I don't know why it doesn't want to play. This was from
saying that law enforcement asked not to be released.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I said that in an interview a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Law
Now
enforcement does not want that information out there. I am not releasing it. It's just know the last time I saw Sebastian was early February until I came home February 26th.
Okay. So notice he says, because I'm going to discuss it in a little bit, it's going to come up about law enforcement. So let me turn this music off because we don't need it for just a minute. Okay. So now I'm going to pull up my going to pull this up full screen. I don't know how to make it any bigger than it is. I apologize. So I'm hoping you can see it, but I'm going to read it. In a TikTok from J is for Justice. Oh, I forgot to give credit where credit just, it's in the links below. J is for Justice. Chris Proudfoot said that he did not see Sebastian from early February until he was home on February 26th. He said he saw Sebastian on the 26th. Okay? I'm going to go down screen. I can't see my chat here, and I don't know if anybody's here, but okay. So I can read it off the screen over here. So, okay. My first question is, does that mean that Chris Proudfoot was one of the people in the vehicle with the flashlights at 3 a.m. on the 26th? Because if he saw Sebastian on the 26th, he would have had to have seen him prior to Katie calling him and telling him that Sebastian was missing. Because Sebastian hasn't been there since Chris got off work at 11 o'clock that afternoon and went back to Hendersonville from Memphis after he was allegedly relieved of duty at his job and never to return to that location. Okay. Except to pick up his RV, which wasn't even at that location. It was over in Kentucky at an RV park. So, question number 2. Why is Chris Proudfoot the only person on the planet who cannot give out information? In my opinion, if he reveals too much that law enforcement does not want revealed, if Chris revealed it, he will get some stainless steel handcuffs. You know, this kind. So it's not that law enforcement doesn't want it revealed. It's that if he reveals it, law enforcement will be all over it. Because believe me, I think Chris knows more than Chris is letting on that he knows. In my opinion. Allegedly. Okay? See, I'm not afraid to say allegedly. I mean, I'm not worried about saying allegedly and in my opinion and everything. I'm not making any accusations. I made it up front right in the beginning that I'm not making any accusations. But I have thoughts and I have opinions and I have theories. I'm entitled to them. Because I say them does not mean I'm bashing anybody. It does not mean I'm laying blame to anybody. It just means that this is a thought, this is my opinion, and this is what I think. And if Chris Proudfoot would come forth with the information that he says law enforcement doesn't want put out there, then I wouldn't have thoughts and opinions because he would answer all my questions. We have 18 more. Let's go. Have the Bower Sox been given polygraph exams? And if not, why not? In my opinion, I think Terry and Kathy Bower Sox, one or the other or both, are just as guilty of whatever happened to Sebastian as Chris and Katie Proudfoot are. I'm not accusing them of having done anything. But where there's one, there's four, in my opinion. Okay. Number 4. If Chris Proudfoot never wanted Faith to be born because he tried to get Nina to terminate the pregnancy. I'm sorry, I just can't imagine doing that. But anyway, So if he never wanted Faith to be born, why is he all of a sudden trying to fight for custody of her? Why has he tried to take her away from Nina before? If he didn't even want the child, why does he all of a sudden now want the child? My theory, now I could be 100% wrong. I could be 100% wrong. In August of 2023, Sebastian was diagnosed with being on the spectrum for autism and with that obsessive discipline disorder or whatever it is, the ODD, I don't know what it's called legally. But he was diagnosed with those. He's getting therapy. But all of a sudden, since Sebastian has these imperfections, he's not good enough for Katie anymore. He's not good enough for Chris anymore. All of a sudden, they need Faith so that Katie can have a daughter to spend time with. Because we all know she already only wanted a girl. She didn't want a boy. So now she has a boy that has medical issues and he's not perfect. But you know what? He is perfect. Sebastian is perfect because he's just exactly the way God made him. Sebastian is perfect, in my opinion. And that's the truth. God don't make junk. So, my next question, and this is just a theory. It's not actually, I don't know for a fact. I can't back it up. So you have to ask the question or you don't get the answer. Was Sebastian sold? In my opinion, because if Faith is at the Proudfoot home and Sebastian is living with Seth, Sebastian may come to visit and then would have interaction with Faith. Is that why Sebastian is not in the home anymore? Is to try to prevent any future interactions between Sebastian and Faith. Because just taking him to Seth's house, there's a chance he can come back and visit. Because I know if I was a 15-year-old, I want to go visit my mom, or 16-year-old, I'd want to go visit my mom. If all of a sudden, if I'd lived with my mom all my life and then all of a sudden I live with my dad, as much as I love my dad, I would still want to go visit my mom. And if Faith is there and Chris doesn't want Sebastian around Faith because Sebastian's not 100% perfect in his opinion, then get rid of Sebastian. And now Mama Bowerstocks is wanting to take vacations to Cancun or wherever, to Alaska. She wants Chris to buy her all kinds of jewelry. Yeah. 2 and 2 add up. I think the little things said behind the scenes, if we hear them in conversation, because we heard Seth say that he had come back from searching for Sebastian, and Kathy was talking to Chris about the kind of jewelry that she wanted him to buy her. Which means this is going to be hush jewelry. Which means they come into some money all of a sudden. They have no son. They have a lot of money all of a sudden. Just asking. I'm just asking. Okay, number 6. Was the attic of the house at 1008 Stafford Court checked on February 26th? Did they check the attic? Was Sebastian up there, unconscious, maybe whatever, until he could be moved later when the coast is clear? Just a question. Number 7. Was the Bowersox rental house in Gallatin, I don't know how you say it, searched on the 26th? Chris's truck was seen that weekend in the driveway of the rental house. He's been saying, I wasn't home. No, he wasn't home. Up until I found out that his truck was seen in the driveway at the Gallatin house that weekend, I thought he was at his parents' house. But then when I saw his lights or his truck in the driveway, I know where he was that weekend. He was at the rental house. So is that where Sebastian's at? Is that where Sebastian's at? That's what I want to know. That house needs to be checked thoroughly for any evidence of Sebastian. In my opinion. Which, all of this is my opinion. I've gotten so used to having to say in my opinion on other content creators' channels that it's just coming out of my mouth now. But this is my channel. I'm not in litigation with anybody. I'm not in fear of being in litigation with anybody. Nobody ever comes to look at my channel. I might get 1 or 2 viewers per, and so far I haven't even had anybody. But if you're here and you're seeing this, thank you. I 100% appreciate you. So, number 8. The police saw 2 IP address pings in geofencing on the 26th for the Stafford Court, Kellen area in geofencing. And Chris Proudfoot has already admitted that one of them was his. He says it was his truck, but all it had to be was his phone. Because then he comes, after he admits that it was his truck, the police ask about his truck. My truck wasn't there. Stop saying my truck was there. Chris Proudfoot, you are welcome to come up on this panel. I don't know how to put people on panel, but you're welcome to come up here and find out, and you're welcome to come up here and try to tell me I'm bashing you, because I'm not bashing you in any way. We all need answers. And at this point, it seems that you're the only one with the answers, and you're hiding behind a lie that says law enforcement doesn't want it out. That's a lie. You don't want it out, because if law enforcement finds out what the truth is, you will have stainless steel bracelets. That's my opinion, Chris Proudfoot. And you're welcome to come up here, and you're welcome to tell me I'm wrong. Matter of fact, I wish you would come up here and tell me I'm wrong. Here, let me put my email address in here, Chris Proudfoot, so you can email me and tell me a day and a time when you come up on my panel. And I'll get a hold of somebody else that knows more about StreamYard than me, and he'll help me learn how to get you up on my panel. You see. There you go, Chris Proudfoot. Let me show this. There you go. There's my email address. Chris Proudfoot. Or Katie Proudfoot. Or Terry Bowersox. Or Kathy Bowersox. I don't care which one of y'all call me or email me. I would like to know the truth. And it seems like the 4 of you are the only ones that have the answers. So, and with Chris admitting that his phone or one of the IP addresses belonged to him. Did the other one belong to somebody who is a Bowersox? That's my question. Number 8 was the second IP address belong to a Bowersox? Number 9. Why does law enforcement not give us any updates, good or bad, about the case? Even letting us know what has been searched and unfounded gives us a lot of information to work with. So if you just come up on their Sumner County Sheriff's Department, law enforcement, TBI, anybody, come up there. Tell us you've had a lot of leads. Give us a clue as to what these leads have been, so we can know which roads we're going down that are heading in the wrong direction, so we can turn our path and head in the right direction, and maybe help us find Sebastian. Because in the end, it's all about finding Sebastian. And we want to help you. Hey, Mom and Dad, welcome to the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Question number 10. On February 26th, they said that they didn't expect to find him. Sadly, I can send you that news clip if you need it. Oh, that would be wonderful. My email address is right there on the screen. That would be wonderful, Mom and Nita. Thank you. Okay, so on February 26th, did Chris Proudfoot call a friend who works at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office at 6:32 a.m. because the Office of Dispatch was closed? We already know that he called Sumner County Sheriff's Office because calling 911 from Memphis would have gotten him to the Memphis Police Department, and the call would have been transferred to the Hendersonville Police and then transferred to Sumner County Sheriff's Office. So calling someone at the Sheriff's Office straight in front makes sense, but who did you call? Chris, who did you call that morning? I'll listen and send it now. It was the local news, and it was regarding the last law enforcement organization search. I'll be listening while I do, but let me email it now or I'll forget. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Okay, number 11. Why did law enforcement give Chris Proudfoot permission to leave to go to Memphis in the beginning of the investigation to get his fifth wheel without a police escort to prove that there was no foul play? Because we already know from listening to Clutch Them Pearls, from listening to Clutch Them Pearls, that we recently found out there were 2 people in the vehicle besides Chris when they went to get the fifth wheel. There was somebody in the passenger seat and there was somebody in the back seat. I don't know who those 2 people are. So if one of them was Sebastian being taken to that area to be dropped off if he was sold the night before or whatever, it makes sense. You can put 2 and 2 together and a whole world can make sense. But without having the answers, all we have is theories. So, number 12. In the police dispatch audio, and I'll play that for you right now. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And this is credited to J is for Justice also. I got it from her page. So let me turn on my music here so that I don't get a strike. Again, fair use. This is fair use. Okay. I got something in my way on my desk. Okay, there we go.
Do we have an estimated time of start for the search process?
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Great, thank you.
Heading missing juvenile, 1008 Stafford Court, 1008 Stafford Court, Hendersonville. Caller advised this morning they woke up and their 15-year-old male was not in the bed. Medium white male, 30 blonde hair, approximately 5 foot, one finger turning down. I was going to be.
Okay, now the important part is just about to be said. Hold on.
Wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants. Juvenile does have a form of autism. This is the first time it happened. I going to be in the home before midnight. All the doors are locked at this.
All the doors are locked at this time. All the doors are locked at this time. All right. So let me put this back up on the screen. Okay. In the police dispatch audio that we just listened to, the dispatcher says all the doors are locked at this time. But my question is, were the doors locked when Katie Proudfoot got up that morning? Because, and the reason I'm asking is because when she got in her car to leave to go look for the school, to leave to go look at the school for Sebastian, she would have locked the house up. She would have made sure the house was locked up to leave to go to the school. And then Chris made the 3-way phone call and then called the sheriff's department. And then Katie came back to the house. So yes, at the time the dispatch call was made, the doors would have been locked because Katie would have locked them behind herself. But were they locked when she woke up that morning? If he could have went out any door and it wouldn't have mattered if he locked it or not, just shut the door. You see what I'm saying? He could have gone out, if he had gone out by himself, which I do not believe in one iota that he did. But in the event he could have gone out the door by himself, he wouldn't have had to have locked it. But if all the doors were locked that morning, Katie could have locked them on her way out to go looking for him. Because she said that she went to the high school looking for Sebastian. Now, why she did that, nobody knows. Okay. I'm going to get off that rant. Okay. So, number 13. How did Kathy Bowersox arrive at the Proudfoot home from where she lives 2.5 hours away from Hendersonville before Seth, who only worked, and Nashville's only 15 to 20 minutes away from Hendersonville? So how did Kathy get there and the rest of the family before Seth? How'd they do that? Okay. Now, next question. Was the green hoodie person at Texas Roadhouse, in fact, Pat or Patty, however they want to refer to her, the lady that is the attorney best friend of Kathy Bowersox? Was that the person in the green hoodie? Was that their attorney? And with Patty being an attorney, the Bowersox and the Proudfoot families have been lawyered up since the planning of this escapade. They've been lawyered up all along because Kathy Bowersox's best friend is an attorney. They're giving us clues in what they're saying. They are giving us clues. There's been a clue out there somewhere about a child, Trafficking. There's been a clue. I missed it, but there has been a clue out there somewhere. Otherwise, it wouldn't have all of a sudden all these rings in Tennessee been busted. I think, what they say, 5,000 people have been busted for it, or 500. I don't know. But a lot of children have been recovered. Thank the Lord. And Dog the Bounty Hunter said one of them might know Sebastian. Okay? So there we go. There's that. Why, number 15, why were not all views of camera footage from February 25th between 6 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., why were not all camera views released to the public? Because there's something on one of those other camera views. Somebody said that there was a 3 or 4 minute time span where Sebastian went to the restroom. It wasn't in the video I saw. It wasn't in the video when they went outside the door to meet up with green hoodie person. So where? Okay, so number 16 goes along with number 15. They kind of go hand in hand there. Why were we only shown an edited 4-minute clip out of a 30 to 40-minute meal? I know they did not be seated, order their food, receive their food, eat their food, and leave the restaurant in 4 minutes time. The video was edited. What was cut out? What is being hidden from us? What is being hidden from us? Number 17. Why was law enforcement not brought? Oh, sorry, I can't read. Why has law enforcement not brought all 3 parents into a roundtable discussion at the police station so that Seth can get questions answered about things that only Chris and Katie know the answers to? Anytime Seth asks a question, Chris and Katie say that he's bashing them or threatening him or being ugly in some sort of a manner. They're not. He's not. He just wants to know where his son is. Asking a question is not accusing somebody of doing something unless the person being asked the question is a narcissist. If you're a narcissist, you don't want nobody asking you questions. But if you're not a narcissist and you have nothing to hide, you don't mind answering every question that's brought out there, even if it's brought out there 15 times in 15 different ways. Chris Proudfoot. Number 18. Was the body that was found in the Tennessee landfill in December ever identified? We have heard from an employee that works at that landfill that it was a male, but nothing since then. The employee of the landfill could not identify who it was. He didn't see who it was. He didn't see anything. He just knows that he heard while he was at work that it was a male. We don't know if it's an adult. We don't know if it's a teenager. We don't know if it's a 2-year-old. But what we do know is we've been told that there's been a body found, and that the smaller landfills, like where the residential trash goes, is taken to a holding landfill over in Kentucky or whatever, the next state beside Tennessee. And then when that gets full, it's all transferred over back into Tennessee to the Tennessee landfill. So this body that was found in December, we haven't heard anything about it after we found out that it had been found. Who was it? Law enforcement, please let us know. And until you let us know, we're going to be praying for the family, because God knows. And we'll be praying for the family of the person whose that body was. In heaven's name. Number 19. Now, I asked this one last night in chat with, allegedly with Brittney J. And I was told it was a good question, but I was also told that somebody would have said something if the answer was yes. Somebody would have said something. Does the story of Katie Proudfoot lawyering up and pleading the fifth hide the fact that she is already in jail under suspicion? Now, myself and another creator have both looked online to try to find out if there has been an arrest made for her. We cannot, either one of us, find anything stating that there is an arrest been made. But we also know that law enforcement is financially backed. So they could be keeping it quiet. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. It is possible. Because nobody's seen or heard from Katie in a couple of weeks. Not since she lawyered up. Why would she need to lawyer up if she wasn't already in jail? What's she lawyering up for? What's she pleading the fifth for? If she's not already in jail and refusing to speak to the law enforcement, why would she need to lawyer up and plead the fifth? That's my opinion. That's my thought. That's my theory. I think the lady is in jail and they're being paid not to release that information. That's my opinion. And until I'm proven otherwise, that's what I'm going to believe. If Katie Proudfoot comes on somebody's panel and discusses something, I will believe she is not in jail. And I will publicly apologize for stating that I feel like she is in jail. Now, Katie Proudfoot, do I get to give you an apology? I certainly hope so. But then again, at the same time, I hope not. Question number 20. If Katie Proudfoot is not already in jail, why? Hi, Esther. Hi. I'm glad to see you. I'm sorry you're late and you're coming in right on the last question. Right on the last question. But that's okay. You can go back and watch it later. It's only... Hi, NJs. Good to see you. Good to see you. I've only been here for almost an hour. It's been 45 minutes. So, you had your grandson? Oh, okay. I understand that. Okay, so question number 20. If Katie's not already in jail, why are she and Chris already not in jail? I think that you get caught up. I do too. I get caught up. I had to take my son over to his employer because his boss got stranded in North Carolina coming back from her Christmas vacation. She couldn't fly to Denver and then get back to Kansas to have the store open today. They have a restaurant, and she couldn't get here to get the restaurant open. It's not really a restaurant. It's a hamburger stand. But it's not the kind you see in New York. It's just a little building that you can drive around. You stop, you place your order. They make your hamburger right there the way you want it. And their hamburgers are like this big. I mean, like this big. And then you get all the lettuce and everything. And they make their milkshakes fresh and everything. So CJ had to go down today and water the plants because he's been doing that since she's been on vacation. And he had to pull out. She found out she's going to be back in Kansas about 9:45 tonight, unless she runs into problems in Las Vegas. Okay. So she'll be home tonight. So she says that she's going to try to have the store open tomorrow. And so we went down and pulled out prep food for tomorrow. But I'll be rewatching. Thank you, Esther. I really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, guys. I don't have very many people to hit the thumbs up, but everyone counts. So, okay. So anyway, we went and got the prep food out. Walked in and the floor is covered in water. She turned the hot water tank off because there's no reason for it to be on while she wasn't there, and she didn't want the water lines freezing. Well, the hot water heater overflowed and that pipe filled the bucket. The bucket got over full and the whole floor got wet. So we emptied the bucket, watered the plants, got the food out. Click the like and subscribe to join. Thank you, Esther. I don't really know that I have join things. I like that people can subscribe, but I don't have memberships or anything like that yet because I don't know what that's all about. But I do appreciate you being here. I do so much. So anyway, we got down there. The floor's wet. We had to get everything up off the floor. We had to water the plants, get the food out, and get everything ready for her to come back tomorrow so CJ can go back to work. Hopefully he'll get to go back to school because he's been out of school from the snow and ice. And I was really afraid to get out, but things had to be done at his employment. So that's what, and I got wrapped up. We went to the grocery store to get some more groceries just in case the weather's supposed to turn bad again tomorrow or this weekend. I'm not sure. So let me ask question number 20. Or finish it, because I run my mouth. It's like squirrel. I get sidetracked. If Katie and Chris are not already in jail, why? Because with 5 CPS reports in 17 months prior to Sebastian's disappearance, Chris Proudfoot, if he was in Kansas, he would be in jail. I can guarantee you that. We're waiting for a winter storm here in Texas. Continue on school. My husband was just in Dallas, Fort Worth. He spent the night there because he had a delivery in Dallas and then had to go do a drop and hook and pick up in Fort Worth, and he's heading up to Colorado, and he's going to run back right into terrible weather. I said, you're going to have to throw chains. He said, like hell I am. He said, I'll park at the nearest Love's. I am not throwing chains. I've been at this for 35 years. I don't throw chains. Okay, fine, don't throw chains. But remember, if the wheels on the truck ain't rolling, we ain't making no paycheck. So I suggest throw them chains, bud. That's what you carry them around for. So anyway, I think that Chris should be in jail for child abuse for 5 CPS reports against him in the 17 months prior to Sebastian disappearing. Katie should be in jail for allowing the abuse. Because in the state of, what state did I live in when it happened? Arkansas. My daughter, sadly, was abused by her stepdad, who happened to have at the time been my husband. So I called my older brother, told him to come get my daughter, and he drove all the way across the state and picked her up at 4 o'clock in the morning, took her back to his house with his wife and sister-in-law, and I separated from my then husband, and I contacted Child Services, and they contacted my now ex-husband, and they contacted my daughter, who at the time was 14 years old, and my ex-husband and my daughter both said nothing happened. So the Child Services said, no victim, no crime. I said, but what about what I saw? What about what I walked in on? They're like, if you want to press this case, you're the one going to go to jail, not him, because you allowed it. So since my daughter said nothing happened, she's the one that Child Services wanted to believe, I didn't want to put her through any more trauma than she'd already been through. And I didn't want to go to jail for something I didn't do. But just the fact that she had lived with me for 2 years, and then I called the Child Services in on my then at the time husband, I was the one that would have went to jail, because I apparently, just because I called in after I separated from him from catching him doing something, I had allowed it for 2 years. It didn't make sense to me. But, you know, Katie, in my opinion, is 100% guilty of allowing Sebastian to be abused. And in my opinion, Katie and Chris both should be in jail right now for child abuse. And while they're there, they can explain to us what happened to Sebastian. If they want to get out of jail, that's their get out of jail free card, in my opinion. So, does anybody have any thoughts on this? I hope the winter storm doesn't get too bad. I talked to my daughter last night, and she's in Arkansas, which is between here and Texas. In your opinion? What's your opinion, Esther? But yeah, she said the weather's not as bad in Arkansas as it was up here. We were without power most of the day before yesterday. And it finally come back on. I was sitting here like, which neighbor am I going to bother to help me bring the generator from the basement to the upstairs so that I can get it turned on? Which neighbor's going to turn on the generator? Which neighbor's going to plug it into the refrigerator so the food don't go bad? I hope it don't get that bad for y'all too. But school's been out. Of course, it was out for Christmas break, but they were supposed to go back to school on Monday, and they didn't go back to school. And I was supposed to call in last night, which I did because by law I had to. But I was supposed to go to jury duty this morning and for jury selection. And when I called in last night, they said, no, call in Friday because we're going to do it next Monday instead of. Law enforcement are building a case. I just think they need more time. I hope you're right, NJs. I really do. I know they're building a case, but I mean, in your opinion, Chris Proudfoot is the only one that keeps saying law enforcement doesn't want that information out. Law enforcement won't let us say anything. There's so much more information we'd love to give out, but law enforcement won't let us. Chris Proudfoot's words, not mine. I'm sorry. But if law enforcement has all this information that Chris Proudfoot's not allowed to share, why isn't their case built? I think Chris Proudfoot has all the information that he doesn't want shared with law enforcement because he would wear some stainless steel bracelets, in my opinion. Just in my opinion. I agree with that 100%. Chris Proudfoot is vile. He makes me sick. Trust you, I wouldn't want him around my child. The sun's coming in, so you can only see like half of my face. I'm glad I don't have any of those hate channels that screenshot me like they did Brittney because they'd say that I was up here on live with only half a face. I'm all here, I promise. See? I'm all here. You put my arm up so you can see. I'm all here. Block the sun over here. Where's that? There. See? I'm here. But, yeah. So that's my thoughts and my opinions and my questions. He shouldn't have been around a goldfish. You're right. You are very right. And I think that's why the cats are gone. Not because he's allergic to cats, but because he has no sense of responsibility. I can almost guarantee you they've gotten rid of the Morkies. Because Katie had the cats when they got together. He says he's allergic. In my opinion, he just don't like cats. Because the cats were good enough when they were dating, but not good enough when they were going to move in together. You can't tell me that in the whole time they dated, he never went to their house, to Katie's house. I don't believe it. I won't believe it. Then Sebastian had a snake. But Chris had 30 snakes at the same time. When Sebastian, who was just a little boy of 13 years old, didn't have the responsibility taught to him yet of how to care for 30 snakes, Chris got rid of them. Chris wouldn't take care of them. I guarantee you, Katie wasn't going to take care of them. Those are dangerous. Ball pythons and boa constrictors and whatever, those are dangerous creatures. So we get rid of the snakes because, in my opinion, she took everything away from Sebastian just to hurt him. He took everything. I think that is also a form of mental abuse. Yes, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Because, he didn't care for the snakes. He didn't want the snakes anymore, so he gave them away. Then they got the Morkies. Okay, the Morkies are now a little bit bigger. They don't let the Morkies out in the yard to go to the bathroom. So I'm sure he's tired of smelling the house. Even though they use puppy pads, the house still is going to have an odor. Trust me. I have 3 German Shepherds. When I first got the 2, Batman and Joker, I was shampooing my carpet every day, until I got them housebroke. And then a year later, when Riddler was born, he's my silver shepherd. I have a black and silver shepherd, that's Batman. I have a black and tan shepherd, that's Joker. And Riddler is a silver shepherd because he's a shepherd husky wolf mix. So Batman and Joker are 2, and Riddler's 1, and they're all finally housebroke. Yeah, but when they decide to sleep, hi H. Davis, I didn't see you come in there. I'm sorry. But when they decide they don't want to sleep in their crates and they want to sleep in Mama's bed, Mama's king-size bed just is not big enough for all of us. So Joker sleeps under the bed, Batman and Riddler sleep on the bed, and I get a little slight edge of my bed. Yeah, I saw you just came in. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll help you'll go back when you have time and rewatch to answer my 20 questions. My nose is itching. Somebody must be thinking about me, or else I'm going to kiss a fool. So anyway, but yeah, I think it's just because Chris doesn't have, and he's already on his 5th wife, so we know he doesn't take responsibility enough to stick with anything long enough to care for it like it needs to be cared for. What do you got busy to do today, H. Davis? Are you still training for the Olympics? Well, y'all, I think I'm going to get off of here and get ready to. My son wants spaghetti and meatballs tonight. The Olympic is a year round. See, I can't convince myself to go outside. When I tried bike riding this summer, and I put myself in for a 75 miles to ride 75 miles for St. Jude during the month of August. And 40 miles in, I wasn't doing it all at once. I was doing it like in 5 and 10 mile increments every day. But 35 or 40 miles in, I had followed a route that my husband had gone the day before. And I had never been that route. And it was a lot of really high hills and really down hills, and I was bicycling. And I went down, and I had gotten, I was doing 8.7 miles that day. So I'd gotten about 4 miles of it, and it was all hills and valleys. And I got around onto a flat, which was Ohio Street, which leads out of my town going to Highway 254. And I had come off of 70th Street and was coming down Ohio Street towards my house, and I saw a dime on the ground. Well, I'm not ashamed. I'm going to stop and pick up that dime because I might need to call someone that cares. So I stopped and I bent down to pick up the dime. My blood pressure dropped, and I passed out right there on the road. Well, I came to. I sat there for a few minutes, got my bearings. Nobody came. Nobody stopped. But I got up, started to get back on my bike. I was so dizzy I could not see straight. So I walked. I still had my bike. I was walking. It still counted as my miles because I had my bike, in my opinion. I finished the 8 miles, even though I had to walk about 2.5 of it to get back to my house. Because every time I tried to get on my bike, I would get dizzy. I got home. I parked my bike at my driveway, which is a 45-degree angle. So I get my bike up my driveway and I parked it, and I thought I better sit down. So I started to sit down on my front steps, and I passed out, fell back, hit my head on the top step. And a few minutes later, I came to again. Come in the house, I took my blood pressure. It was 56/50. I don't know how I was alive. I refused to call 911. So my son got me some water. I sat there. I drank some electrolyte water, got my blood pressure back up, didn't move. I fell asleep, took a nap, and that was on a Saturday. I kind of laid low the next day on Sunday. On Monday, I called my doctor and I said, I need to see a cardiologist. They got me into the cardiologist and he wanted to do a stress test. So they scheduled me for a stress test. I do the stress test and I'm walking on a treadmill on flat ground. It didn't do nothing. In 30 minutes, nothing happened. I said, well, I'm not riding my bike. I'm not bending over. I said, it's not acting up. My cardiologist decides I'm allergic to my diabetes medicine. And my diabetes medicine is causing my blood pressure to go too low. So he puts me on medication to raise my blood pressure. And then he didn't take me off my diabetes medicine because he's not my endocrinologist, so he couldn't do that. So now in February, I got to go get my blood A1C checked again. If my A1C is still below 5, they're going to take me off of all my diabetes medicine so that I won't need the blood pressure medicine. It doesn't make no sense to me, but currently I'm afraid to ride my bike because unless my husband is with me, because I'm afraid in February you get a checkup. That's good. So I got one of those things that sits on the ground and you put your feet on it and you pedal. And that's how I'm doing I can sit on the side of my bed and I can pedal, and that's how I get it. Hi, reality. You come in just as I'm getting ready to close down. I was just talking to H. Davis about my blood pressure dropping out. But anyway, but yeah, when I asked the question about if anybody thinks that Katie lawyering up and pleading the fifth has to do with her already being in jail, another content creator last night looked it up. I've looked it up. We can't find anything. In my opinion, the money goes where the mouth is, So I'm thinking law enforcement could be law enforcement could be being paid to not say that she's there. But somebody else that was in Brittney J's chat last night said that if she was in jail, somebody would have leaked it because somebody else that's in jail would have talked to a family member and that family member would have leaked the information. So let everybody get their hellos in chat. Reality, Esther, NJ's, H. Davis. If you can't figure it out, I kind of have a fascination with sunflowers. Slightly. I had sunflowers on my Christmas tree and now they're in my ficus. So I love sunflowers. These shelves over here are sunflowers and turtles and frogs. And then there's some sunflowers up there in the get lockered. And there's sunflowers all the way around the room. But I like sunflowers. And my necklace is a sunflower. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, I'm going to end this stream. I thank everybody for being here. Do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason they smile and get lockered. Bye-bye.